sitting there and I hear like a right when I do that, I see the guy on fire rolling around.
An explosion at a Michigan home puts 2 Lafayette men in the hospital. Good evening and thanks for joining us on this Friday evening. I'm Dan Klein. 2 Lafayette men are recovering from severe burns after being inside a Lansing, Michigan home when it exploded earlier this week. News Channel 18's Kristen Marano joins us now with more on tonight's top story. Kristen?
Well, Dan, the Lansing Police Department says Kevin Reynolds and Andrew Brown were in a Lansing home that set fire after a major explosion early Tuesday morning. I did speak briefly with the 2 men's parents on the phone earlier this evening, and they didn't want to be interviewed, saying only that they appreciate the thoughts and prayers from people in our community, and the 2 men are doing, quote, as well as can be expected.
On a Caring Bridge website for Kevin Reynolds, his sister-in-law writes that Reynolds suffered burns on 65% of his body. She says most of those burns were 3rd degree. The site says Reynolds will have to go through skin grafting surgeries every 2 to 3 days for the next 4 months. Police say this was the scene that put Reynolds and Andrew Brown into the hospital earlier this week. They say one other man was also in the house when there was an explosion around 12:30 early Tuesday morning. A neighbor says after he heard a loud boom, he ran outside to find the men on fire.
One guy was in real bad shape. You can just tell, like his mouth looked like he was burned in his mouth, and I knew that ain't good. And then the other fellas, you know, with the skin hanging off.
2 of them were burned, over 50% of their body with 2nd and 3rd degree burns. The 3rd was over 70% of his body.
There's still no word on what caused the blast. Authorities say chemicals were found in the home, but it's not clear whether it was a chemical fire. In the meantime, the families of the men who were injured continue to pray for a smooth recovery.
And for a link to Kevin Reynolds' Caring Bridge site where you can find updates on his condition, you can click on this story on WLFI.com. Kristen Marano, News Channel 18.